Operation and Physical Education, Montfort School, St. Thomas Mount, Chennai. All the participants and our beloved principal, sir, I welcome you for this session on behalf of Ministry Youth Affairs and Sports, Kelo India, and Sai LNCP. Today we have a special guest and a special speaker, Francis Sebastian, sir. He is a multi-sports coach, experienced physical educator, and a multi-sports coach with a demonstrated history of working in education and the sports industry. Skilled in grassroots sports physical literacy, curriculum design, coaches education, recreation and multi-sports facility management, coaching and working with special needs students. He has a strong professional background with a Master of Science focused in fitness, exercise rehabilitation, nutrition from YMCA College of Physical Education, Chennai, and a Bachelor of Physical Education from Lakshmi Bai National College of Physical Education, Gwalior. He has been a AIFFD licensed coach, Indian Blind Football Federation certified coach, IBF certified grassroots badminton coach, Reebok International University certified Fit Kids trainer for children, and a consultant for Retest Ride PE outsourcing company FC Madras. Today, Sir will be sharing with us his expert opinion on organizing sports and events. Sir, on behalf of Ministry Youth Affairs and Sports, LNCP, Kelo India, I welcome you for this beautiful session. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sanjeev. Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev.
It's a privilege for us to see you in this session also. Every time you have a good marathon strength, endurance. So this is the third time we are saying, I'm very happy to see you and eagerly waiting to hear your voice also. So wonderful your voices. So today also, I request all the participants to pay patience and give importance for this beautiful session. Sir is going to deliver beautiful opinions on sports and events.
Are we ready to go, Dr. Sanjeev?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are eagerly waiting.
Okay. A very good morning to everybody. I hope my voice is clear. Can you all, is it clear, Dr. Sanjeev? Are you able to hear?
Very clear, sir. Very clear.
Okay, good. Start with a very big thank you to the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Sports Authority of India and Kelo India, and to LNIP Trivandrum for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this massive coaches and physical education teachers professional development program, which has been going on for the last 3 months. There's so much work that goes on into it behind the scenes. So I'd like to thank the full team at LNIP Trivandrum who have been working extremely hard on this program, and hope that the coaches and the physical educators who have been attending these programs will definitely benefit from and have go back with a different knowledge base once they've attended these sessions. Shall I start sharing the screen? Dr. Sanjeev?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So sports and events in school. Sports and events in school are a very big part of school life for children. And anybody who has had the opportunity to work in school and who are still working in school realize that the sports events in school is something that actually solidifies the image of the school in a community. The community around the school, the parent community, the education community around the school, always looks at schools through how they organize and conduct their sports and events in schools. Before we go to the sports and events, we are also going to be looking at some of the other topics that we've been talking about during these webinars. One is about the pursuit of sports, fitness and active lifestyle, and sports excellence pathways. Now, whenever we're talking about physical education in school, it is what we are emphasizing on these 3 sessions that we have had is about a developmental physical education program in schools. And the change is from a competitive physical education program, which has been the norm in the past, to looking at how we can bring in a developmental physical education program that will involve every single child in school, starting from kindergarten all the way up to class 12. And when children leave school, they are going to be leaving school with life skills that can carry them through their adult life till the last days on earth. So this is the whole goal of the PE learning outcomes. We want our students to be participating in an active and having an active lifestyle. This is one of the first goals that we need. We need children to be moving a lot more. In fact, yesterday I was looking at an amazing video that came out to me on one of my WhatsApp groups about how physical activity has been reduced for children in today's modern world. And they were comparing them with prisoners in the US prison system. And in the US prison system, physical activity or outdoor activity is 2 hours for every 24 hours. And when somebody was telling the prisoners in this interview, like, if we take away these 2 hours of physical activity that you have per day, what would your reaction be? And almost all of them were very upset. They said, I would be very upset if you take away these 2 hours of physical activity, because this is the only thing that I have from my indoor cell in my jail room to come outside and enjoy the opportunity of being in the outdoors. Now, this is what our prisoners are saying in jail. But unfortunately today, our children are going through that same system. We have denied them the access to be outdoors and enjoy the joy of being in the outdoors. And they are hardly getting about half an hour outdoors, if they're lucky. Some of them are very lucky ones, they get a little more. So being active and being outdoors is one of the most important learning outcomes of the physical education program in school. And this is a lesson that we want them to carry on through the rest of their life. And also discovering sports that they enjoy participating in. And if they want to excel, then finding pathways for them to excel and go on to the elite level. And if they're not keen on going to a very elite level, finding them a pathway that where they can always still enjoy their sports when they leave school, go to college, when they start working in their working lives, continue to enjoy the sport that they loved when they were in school. And the sporting excellence pathway is the one that we're going to be providing for players in school level, for the students who want to pursue a very high elite athletic program. Now we have the National Sports Day, which happens on the 29th of August, which is the birthday of Major Dhyanchand. And this is now one of the very important parts of the school sports calendar. And on this day, it is very important that we create opportunities in school to promote the concept of being active, actively pursuing any kind of sport that they like. And it is not just only for the students. We would also like to make sure that you involve the whole school community, which is where the parents get involved, the teachers get involved, the school management gets involved, create small sort of tournaments for different age groups. It is one particular day that we have it, and maybe you can have an open day in school where the kids come to school, and there's actually on that particular day, the whole focus is going to be only on sports. And even if you don't have a PE class that day in your timetable, you can make sure that on that particular day, on the 29th of August, or whichever day is going to be coming close to that, where you are going to be celebrating National Sports Day, you can ensure that every class is going to come out that day and have a good time on the sports fields in whatever area that you have, whatever space that you have. If you have a very small space also, make sure you create a timetable and a rotation where everybody can come out, the teachers, the students, they can come out and enjoy being in the outdoors, take part in games that you are organizing for them, and just have fun playing sports. The daily sports opportunities in school. Now, when we talk about the daily sports opportunities in school, the new NEP policy has very clearly said that we're looking at 1 PE period per day. Now, is that going to be possible in reality? It all depends on how the schools are going to react to this and how we are going to find and create space in your curriculums for this 1 PE period a day. Realistically, if you ask me, and even if many of us who are there on the participants who are listening to this, if I ask you to come up with an answer, many of you are going to tell me, sir, this is not going to be practically possible in our school. Maybe I'm in a school where I have 7,000 students and I just have only one basketball court, and that's all I have for my students. But if you are able to at least achieve the minimum, the bare minimum, which is about 2 PE periods a week, which will require a lot of effort from everybody involved in the curriculum planning and the timetable planning, you're going to be able to achieve that. The other way that you can always look at how you can bring in physical activity for the students is to have sessions for the children before school and after school. When I'm talking about sessions for the children before school and after schools, many of you are already doing a tremendous job preparing your competitive teams. You have your school team that you have your coaching before, and you have your school team coaching after school. But what we should also not forget is about the students who are not in the school teams, who are not able to be a part of these training programs before and after school. Try and create atmosphere or spaces in the school again, if there is space available, where if somebody comes in early to school, if classes are starting at 8:30, and if there is a child who comes into school by 7:30, the child knows that if I come to school at 7:30, instead of just sitting down in one space, the school is going to provide me some kind of equipment. There may be skipping ropes, there might be ladders, there might be a few balls, the tennis balls that I can pick up and play. So there are equipment that is left there for the kids to use and be involved in physical activity that is unsupervised. This is free play, absolute free play, which is the foundation for a lot of sports activities, where the kids themselves are organizing it, the space is provided to them, and 10 minutes before the bell or 5 minutes before the bell, they pack up, put everything back into the places, and they get ready for their classes. Also, the substitution and free periods. Now, whenever there are substitution periods given, sometimes in many of our, especially in the Indian school system, if you get a substitution class, mostly it happens that some teacher will go in there and just sit down in the class and nothing is happening actually in that class. But if you're able to give the teacher who's got a substitution for a class, if it's a geography teacher who's gone into class 10 and she's substituting for maths, and she's not going to be able to do any maths there. But if the space is available in the school compound where that class can come down and get themselves physically active, think of changing that into a PE place and let them have a physical activity class where the substitute teacher is supervising that class. So we are trying to find ways of how we can meet this daily quota of 1 hour of at least minimum of physical activity in school. The importance of sports events and competitions. Now, when we are organizing sports events and competitions, the key areas that we have to look at is, as I always say, it's the 4 W's, W's, like who are we doing this for? Why are we doing this? And what is the purpose of what we are doing? Where and when are we going to do this? So the who is about your audience. Are we going to be doing this for elementary school? Are we going to do this for kindergarten? Are we going to do this for middle school? Are we going to do this for high school? So whatever we are doing has to be age appropriate, and it should be something that will catch the attention of the students and keep them engaged and interested and enjoy what they are doing. Why are we doing this? When we do something, why are we doing this? What is our purpose of why we are doing this now? For example, when I spoke about the National Sports Day, I said, let's have an open day where the classes come down and everybody gets a chance to be out that day on the sports field and there is no regular teaching, but everything that's going to be happening, even in the classroom, is all going to be sports related. So the why is about getting the children to understand the importance of sports. So if we are doing a tournament, what is the purpose of the tournament? So what do we want to achieve when we do these tournaments? And then the most important question is where and when are we going to do this? How are we going to slide this into the curriculum? How are we going to slide this into the school planning calendar? So it is important that we make sure that we have some kind of a year plan before we start the year. Think of the things that you want to do and slide them into the year calendar of the school, and not wait for the last minute and say, next week we will do this one, next week we will do this, which happens in a lot of schools today. The planning of sports events in the school is always done, except for I've seen many schools, you will find that sports day will be a part of the school calendar. But all the other things may not be in the school calendar. So try and include at least another 10 to 12 activities that are going to be reflected in your school calendar in the beginning of the academic year itself. So that means you put a date, you got a time frame, and you're going to be working towards it. Now, when we talk about, I was talking about how we want to have more physical activity in school, and how this physical activity in turn is going to help spread this message about being active in sports. So we have a development pyramid, and the idea of the Sports Authority of India, the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, the Khelo India program, it is all about how we are going to increase the base at the bottom of people actively participating in sports activities. So that starts at the school level. So the more people that we have participating at the school level in every little corner of India, the base is going to be wider. Once the base is wider, we are giving them more opportunities to participate. We are also going to give opportunities for people to start moving up the ladder. Slowly, when we start, the base is very wide, we're going to spot more talent. And then these people are going to slowly start moving up the ladder, try and go to the district level. And then from there, they're going to go up to the state level, and then looking at the national level. And then hopefully that's where we are going to be going at the world level and have more podium finishers. So the bigger the base for us is at the bottom of the pyramid. And this bottom of the pyramid lies in schools. This is where it lies. It lies in schools. The more that we are providing opportunities for physical activity and sports in schools, this base is going to be wider. So let's ensure that most of our students in school, when I say most, I mean every child in school gets this opportunity to participate in a broad-based program. And then the filtration starts, and the ones who are better start slowly moving up the pyramid. The sports development the pyramid for school children is basically it relates to the one slide that we were talking about before. We have the whole school participation at the bottom of the pyramid, where the whole school is participating in sports program. The biggest example of that is Sports Day, which is common for all of us around the country. We have massive sports days. Then we have the intramural competitions, where some of the schools are focusing on this a lot, where we have inter-house competitions, inter-class, and then invitations to the school team tryouts. So this is one of the more important areas which I would like to stress on: invitation to school team tryouts. Whenever you are having, you're trying to select your school team, whether it is junior, senior, or super senior, or sub junior, always give the opportunity for kids to come and try out. The tryouts are a big part of sporting cultures. So if, for example, if you're going to be having a basketball team for the sub juniors, let's say, make sure that you put a poster out that says 2 days of tryouts. So anybody who feels that they are good in basketball and they want to come and try for the school team should be given the opportunity to come and try. And then from there, you make your first cut, you reduce some of them, the second cut, and then you have your final team. So what happens here is you are giving an opportunity for kids to come and try, but also you have to be ready as a coach, because now you're talking more about a coaching role now, that you will also be in a position to explain to somebody who does not make the cut why you did not make the cut. So some of the students are going to come, just like in the classroom. If a child is going to get less marks in a subject, they're always going to go and ask the teacher like, Miss or Sir, why did I get less marks in this? I wrote all the answers. So if a child comes to you and say, I came and tried out in the basketball, I did my best, why I did not get selected? So you should be able to tell that child and give him a little brief about why you did not make the team. This is the areas that you are lacking. So go back, try and improve on this and come back and try next year. So we always know there's going to be only 12 players in the team. And if you have 60 kids who tried out, it's going to be difficult to get all 60 of them, but it's the opportunity that you're giving them to try, and also that they know that I also had a fair shot at being in the school team. Sometimes what happens now, mostly it's like the PE teachers and the coaches, you see students in the classroom and you only choose them, but give them an opportunity. Let everybody come and try out there and you have your 12. So that improves your own school atmosphere where students are knowing that I also have a chance to come to the school tryout. Inter-school competitions are a very big part of our school programs. So in different parts of the country, in India, we have various levels of competitions. For example, in Chennai, you have zonal, inter-zone, and then you have district, and then you have state, which is what the Samachar Kalvi program in Chennai follows. Same way in the CBSE schools, you have the zonals, clusters, zonals, and things like that. So participating in these competitions is the next level after the base. We're talking about the broad base, then the school level, and then moving up. And then slowly moving on to go to the cluster, regional levels, and then to the national levels, and representing your state. And hopefully some of them will go on to represent the country at the highest level. And how do we expand the participation in sports opportunities, outdoor and leisure activities and nature? Now, this is all about what we're talking about, taking the schools, the PE program, from being a school-centric program into an outdoor setting. How can we take this and develop a love for the outdoors? In many of the cities that we are in, the big metro cities, it is a challenge. But for people who are in smaller towns, in rural areas, people who are living in the foothills of the mountains, the hills, wherever they have tremendous opportunities for bringing in outdoor education. When you talk about outdoor education, we are talking about basically going for a trek, getting together about, you can always use this for middle school, that is class 6 to 8, and for high school also, where you can just take them out to the foothills and then take them for a small one-day trek, finishing in a lunch and a picnic, a tea, and then bringing them back home. But they spend the whole day in the outdoors. And once they start doing this and they are introduced to this outdoor life, children have these memories and they will always look for these opportunities to be continued in their adult lives. Camping is another great way of introducing them to the outdoors. Most of us as physical educationists, we know that in our physical education colleges, our camping program, the first year is one of the great things that we always look forward to, and going out for the leadership and adventure camp for 1 week. So if you're able to create within your school, if you're able to create a camp to give your students the opportunity to go and experience camping in the outdoors. Nothing like going and experiencing in the outdoors. If you're not able to go outdoors, you can always think about doing a camp inside your own school, where the kids can come in there, and it's supervised by the school, the chaperones are there, all safety measures are in place, and you can have a camping atmosphere where they come in on Saturday morning, they come to school, they're there the whole day doing different kind of activities. They stay overnight in school on Saturday, then they can do it again on Sunday, and after lunch, they can leave for their homes. So it's an opportunity for them again to bond with their friends out of a classroom atmosphere. So these are the more important things which will also help to enhance the value of your physical education program in school. Inter-house and inter-class competitions. Competitions are a very important part of school life. And many of the schools have got a structure where you have a house system, and the house system basically is a reflection of our British education heritage. And it's many schools have got very, very strong house systems. And even in colleges, for example, for us in LNCP, when we meet, LNCPians meet, the first thing that we always ask is which house, So I always proud to say I'm from Sebastian house. I don't know how many of you are Sebastians here in this group. So hi to all the Sebastians who are there. So I mean, it's the house culture is something about a kind of bonding that develops at the school level in smaller groups, and this in turn helps to bind the house culture, helps to bind people to the bigger picture of the school culture. So the house and the school culture is very important in developing the school, the athletic and the competitive program in the school. Also, along with that is to try and, because what happens in the house system is, again, it's going to be a small number of students who are going to be able to represent the house in various competitions. If you have a house competition, and along with that, if you're able to have an inter-class competition, this will open up the opportunities for more people to take part in organized competitions inside the school. So for example, if you're going to have an inter-house competition for juniors, then you'll have only one football team. But if you're going to have an inter-class competition in football for middle school, that is 6th, 7th, 8th, you will have all those children in those classes. There are about 40 kids there in each class. At least 15 of them are going to be getting an opportunity to be a part of the class team. So this is where we are improving on this broad base that we are talking about at the bottom of the pyramid. We are going to improve it through more competitions in inter-house format or the inter-class competition. And if you are in a mixed school, I would definitely say that we should also promote competitions which can be a mixed gender. And this is a very important part of our physical education program, that where we are encouraging especially our high school students and promoting gender sensitivity and respect for each other. The more that they are able to interact on the sports field with members of the opposite sex on the sports field, it becomes a bonding of a team. So when you have, let's say, for example, if you're having an inter-house and inter-class match, and if you're also mixing them up as a mixed team and making them play, so the boys and the girls are going to be having better respect and understanding for each other, which is one of the most important need of the hour for us in our country, where we find every day we keep hearing these horror stories about what is happening to women in our country. If we are able to find a way through sports to make our people, our men, our boys more sensitive to be and respectful towards women, we can do this through sports. Primary ideas for our primary school students. The primary school sports, whenever we are doing our primary school sports, at the bottom of the pyramid, when we talk about primary, we are talking about kindergarten, and we're talking about grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. So this is like the lower end of elementary or primary school. The key word here is fun. It should be absolute fun. The whole activity, whatever they are doing, it should be fun. But for them to have fun in these events, it is also important that we train the children to take part in these events. We can't just surprise them on the sports day and give them an event, which is what they're going to be doing for the first time. So whenever we are doing events for them in a competitive atmosphere, we got to make sure that the children have had adequate practice before the actual competition. So make sure that the children are familiar with the equipment, they are familiar with what they have to do in the event. So when we have the competition, they are able to put their best foot forward. So we have a whole race. There is a whole list of activities there, which I'm sure most of you must have read by now. And also it is important to make sure that we include the moms and dads into these programs when we have our elementary and upper elementary sports days. Because always, whenever we are doing a sports event, this is something I always tell many of the people I discuss with about events. I say, if you focus on the under 6 age group, under 6, under 7, you can be guaranteed that if the child is taking actively part, there will be at least 4 members from the family who will turn up. It could be mom and dad, and it could be one set of the grandparents, or it could be 2 sets of the grandparents. So if you look at it carefully, there'll be at least minimum of 6 people that will come from one family. So you will have a fantastic atmosphere and you'll have a great audience that will always support your event if you really do your events focused on children and have it as a complete fun event. Like, I see a few hands that are raised. Dr. Sanjeev, if you are there, do you want to take any questions in between, or we take it at the end?
At the end, we'll take some.
You take it at the end.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have requested them in case
Okay, thank you.
of them is they will.
Okay, we'll continue. Now, middle school, as we talk about middle school now, this is where the transition happens from elementary, primary school towards, in elementary and primary school, children are more dependent on their teachers to do a lot of things. And now slowly they start asserting their independence. And as they are in the bottom of the middle school, that is like 6, they still have some of the traits from elementary. But as they move into 7 and 8, you will find that the peer influence is much more stronger. And they start becoming much more independent in their thinking. And this is where we have to make sure that all our events that we are organizing, again, are at their appropriate level for their maturity and their thinking. And here again, it's good to make sure that we have a lot of team activities and promote participation in mixed activities. The more we do mixed activities there, if that is possible in a mixed school, in a co-educational setup like, that will really help promote the understanding between boys and girls and respect for each other. So there we're talking about a whole lot of different activities. There's a few which are mentioned out there, but definitely track and field is a very big part of it, and all the other games depending on what you have in your school. But whatever you do, but track and field should be very, very important. Make sure that there is track and field there, and you can start modifying the track and field events to suit whatever your requirements. When we go to secondary school, again, it's the same thing there. Now, if the children have got a good exposure to track and field at an earlier event, you can run the whole gamut of all the athletic track and field activities, from the sprints to the middle distance runs, to the long distance runs, to the jumps and the throws. And then, of course, you can start modifying with mixed relays. You can have medley relays and a whole lot of things that you can start doing. And then again, there is the team events. This is where, again, the team bonding and respect for each other starts. So you can use a whole lot of games that are available, and each one of you can improvise and do what is best according to the circumstances that you have. We have given you ideas for dodgeball, football, basketball, traditional games, novelty relays, and the color run. I will just give you a brief about the color run. The color run is a fantastic program that is done in many countries for the high school students. And basically it is outdoor run, which could be 5K, it could be 10K, depending on what you want and your school students, your level of your athletes. So what happens is, from the start, everybody is wearing a white T-shirt at the start, mostly because we are going to be using colors on them. So when they run the first kilometer, when you reach 1 kilometer mark, you might get holy colors. We use these Rangoli colors, which are thrown on them. And so you have red maybe at 1 kilometer. Then when you go to 2, you might get green, then you might get blue, and then yellow. So by the time they finish the 5 kilometers and they come back to the start or the finish, they will be having a whole lot of colors on them. And so this is what we call the color run, which is an absolute fun event to do for the color run. Even if you can either do this on a circuit outside the school, and if you don't, if you're not happy taking it outside in terms of safety, you can run it on a lap basis inside your own school. So when they complete, if you got a 200 track or a 400 track, so once they complete 1K, you can start putting one color on them. And it's not a competitive thing. It's about collecting the colors for the kids. Like school sports days / week. Now, why are we talking about a week? What happens now in most schools is that school sports day is just one single day and it's done and dusted with. And most of the time it does not achieve the goals of the what, the who, the why. Why do we just have a sports day for one day and that will last for about 2.5 hours? And if you are a school of 3,000 students, how many of these 3,000 students can actually display their athletic skills on that day? A school sports day should be about maximum number of students displaying their athletic abilities on that day. So what I always suggest wherever I am, and I've tried it and it's worked tremendously, only thing it requires extra planning and more hard work from the PE department is to break your sports day down into segments. So you have a high school sports day, which could be for class 9, 10, 11, 12. Then you have a middle school sports day. And then you could have an upper elementary sports day or upper primary, which would be 3, 4, 5. And then you have a lower primary, which is kindergarten and 1 and 2. So you have them in smaller blocks, and you could either have them spread over the whole year. You could have, and ideally high school can always have in the first term, because high school students are a little more focused on their exams. So you can have it in the first term, and the others, you can spread them out during second and third term. Or you can have a week where one day, the first day of the sports week is for high school, then middle school, then upper elementary, and then lower elementary, 4 days. You can have them back to back. So, and here what happens is there are more students engaged. The engagement is more. Instead of just trying to squeeze the whole thing into 2 hours on one day, or maximum 3 hours on one day, you can have 3 hours for each segment of the school on one day. And more students will be actually taking part. And also to ensure this, what you should do is to make sure that students are only taking part in one event. We normally have this habit of having a track and field meet in school, and the same person will be winning the 100 meters, he'll win the 200 meters, he will win the long jump, he'll be the relay team, and then he will be the individual champion. And it does. We know that the ability of one particular child. Why don't we look at how we can promote more kids? So the individual events, you could probably have a cap on it. Maybe I always prefer to have a cap of one, only one individual event plus a team event, like the relays. If you feel no, maybe you can have a cap of 2, one track and one field. But ideally, just have one, and more students can take part. Because when parents come to sports days, many parents feel disappointed when I speak to them that their children are not actually taking part in an event, and they're only doing a drill or a display or something. What we want to promote is more physical activity in the form of actual participation in sports. And also to include more team games. Try and bring in more various fun team games where those who do not make it for the actual individual events, they can also be involved in the team events, where you can have team events spread over a minimum of 10 to 15 people in each team. And that makes sure that as many people as possible, many students have participated in sports day, and that is a very, very positive experience for them to actually be involved in the running of the sports day and performing on sports day. Celebrating National Sports Day, we were talking about this. So there are the Kalo India and go4fit.in. They've got this program going online where you can register your students for this program, and you can also upload your videos, the photographs of your students actually doing these programs, which currently they will be doing at home. Many of you are taking online PE classes. So probably if you can upload these pictures, and once you have done this, your school will be eligible to be getting certificates and for your school and for the individuals who have participated. So try and register your school with the www.go4fit.in. The Fit India School Week, again, we're expanding from the National Sports Day. Now we're talking about a whole week. So we're looking at somewhere in November, December. And slowly this movement has become very popular. Many schools have done some tremendous work with promoting this, the Fit India School Week around the country. And this is an open canvas. It's an absolute open canvas for all physical educators and coaches to be artists, to bring out the creative side in you. There is no template. You create your own template based on what you have available in your community, in your school, and how you want to design this. Be as creative as possible. Think of various ways of how you can have a complete week in school that is totally focusing on fitness and the importance of being physically active. If you do your research, there is tremendous resources that are available online. You have resources that have been coming from Kalo India, many organizations inside India itself. And if you look outside, if you go to Shape India, the Shape US curriculum, and Active for Life, there are so many other ideas that you can pick up. So use this opportunity and use this canvas to create your own ideas, your own program there, which your students will love and enjoy having that Fit India School Week, which always takes part somewhere, which is done in November, December. This is a brief template about what you can do. As I said, this is not the guideline. This is not a fixed one. It is a canvas. I want you to think like painters. I want you to think like artists. I want you to think like creative people. And this is what you can do when you're doing the Fit India Schools Week in your school. You can have a morning assembly where there's some kind of physical activity. It's up to you what you can do, like whether it is yoga, whether you want to do Zumba, you want to do any kind of dance activity, Bollywood dancing, anything where your kids really get going. Like, I mean, there was an amazing video I saw the other day of a principal in a Chinese school who wanted to get, please look at, go on YouTube and look it up. It's the principal dancing and leading the school in the shuffle dance. And it's an amazing dance, and it's very simple, but it's the school principal who's leading the school in the shuffle dance. You know, think of ways of how you can really, really get your students very active. Also have prominent people from the world of fitness and sports come and talk to your students and the importance of being physically active for students in school. Look at how you can also have fitness assessments done during that week. Introduce them into the fitness gram. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the, many of you might have heard the word yo-yo test, because the Indian cricket team uses that as a benchmark for the fitness for their players. But there are what we call the beep test, which is a very popular fitness testing tool for students, which are used in international schools, where you can download the music, and it's basically students who are running up and down a given 20-meter pathway, and the beat, there's a music beat, and the beat starts increasing, and there is a beep, and the gap between the beep starts from a jogging pace towards when you start going level 1, level 2, level 3, you are basically sprinting. So when you reach level 15 or level 18, it's an all-out sprint. And kids enjoy this, and for some kids it's a torture. And you know, but there is a benchmark that you can set for the kids. You can also have quiz activities for the students, and very important is also to bring in your, again I keep saying community, 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 because until we bring in the parents, the teachers, the school management also into this, we are never going to achieve this goal. The most important people to buy into the Fit India School Week is the school management, the teachers in your school, and then your parent community. If you're able to get them all in there, then you're going to be very successful in trying to implement the Fit India School Week. International Yoga Day, yoga, the gift of India to the world. And it's great to see that now there has been a large push to bring about the importance of yoga into school. And I've had this going many years in my schools. Even when I was in Dubai, I was doing this in school, and I had resistance from people who always thought that this was a spiritual activity. And it's where we as physical educators, it is our responsibility to make parents and the community understand that this is not a spiritual activity. Yoga is a way of life, and we are teaching a lesson for life for the children, where with minimum, absolute minimum equipment, minimum space, where people can really benefit from doing these yogic activities and being active for life. Outside school competitions, this again, a very big part of the school program. How do you do your school competitions? Do you participate in leagues? Do you participate in tournaments? And again, now we go back to what I was talking about, the tryouts. And how do you select your school teams to represent your school when you go for competitions? It is also very important that you set goals for your school team. So when you are setting goals for your school team, it is not about just going and participating in a tournament and just appearing there. It is about going to a tournament and doing your best. So if you know that you are in a competition where your standards are very high and you are a school team which has got a lower standard, then all you want to be telling your students is like, we are going to go out there, we are going to be putting our best foot forward. We don't care about the score line there, but we are going to be looking at how well we as individuals in our team are going to be playing. This is very important, that you make sure that each individual in your team is contributing to the success of the team. And success is not defined by win or losses. Success is going to be defined by how hard and how much did you put when you went out there in training, in practice, and in matches, and how you have improved when the season is over. This is the most important thing. Success is not defined, as I'm repeating this, success is not defined by win or losses. Success is defined by how you have prepared your team for the tournament, how your team has trained, and how the students have improved from where they were at the beginning of the season to the finish of the season. Also very important is to try and create a brand for your school team. If you look at the IPL, the Chennai Super Kings have got their lions, and you got, if you look at the ISL, you got Kerala Blasters, you've got an elephant. So it's always nice to have a mascot or a theme animal for your school team. So if you don't have one, try and create one for your school team, which will definitely boost the morale of your students. Whenever we are doing our sports days, we always have a starting and the ending. So this is one of the things that we have to keep in mind when we start having our sports days, is to make sure that the whole focus of our event, whatever event we are doing, is on the event. Let's make sure that the opening speeches, the welcome and everything is a small percentage. You don't want to allocate more than 3% to 4% of the time for the opening and the closing. So make sure that you have more time to run your actual event. This is what people really want to see, what is happening with the events like. So make sure that we have more time for this. The oath taking, the march past, and then give them an idea about the timetable of what the whole event is going to be. And make sure that we are distributing your medals to the winners during the event. Don't try and pile up a whole lot of prize distribution towards the end of the program. I see this happening in a lot of places. When we have an event, the prize distribution ceremony goes on for almost 40 to 45 minutes to 1 hour. Most of the students, the organizers, everybody is tired. And we are trying to minimize the time. So make sure that the awards are distributed during the course of the event, and that the final awards are going to be very minimal. Make sure you thank all your guests and your teachers, students, and parents for supporting you in an event. I'm sure most of you are always doing this whenever you're doing an event. And it's also very important that when we do these events, that you have a proper checklist. I'll be going through it when we come to the actual events program. Now, when we are hosting an event, any event that we are hosting, we are looking at 8 areas. The planning of the event, budgeting, sponsors, marketing, media management, operation, experts, and infrastructure. So make sure that your planning is done well in advance. So if your event is going to be happening, make sure that you have at least an 8 weeks gap from the time you plan to the actual execution of the event. So this gives you all the time to make sure that you go back and forth and make sure that your event is going to be happening in a smooth way. Budgeting, very important part of planning and hosting an event. Create your budget. Try and stay within your budget. It's very important to stay within your budget, but more important is to create the budget and make sure that you have an actual figure, that you know what is going to be the budget. And your budget should be covering all operational aspects of the event, from the start to the finish, from pins to needles to everything. Make sure that you have a proper budget for everything. Look at sponsors for your event. Reach into your community, your own school community. Try and look at how you can find funding. If you lack funding for your event, reach out to people, because your event is going to be having eyeballs. If you're a school with, as I said, if you're in the lower primary level, and if you've got about 1,000 students in your lower primary, 1,000 students plus, as I said, mom, dad, two sets of grandparents, that is 6. So we are talking about at least 6,000 people. You can give it as a target audience to your sponsors and say, on my sports day, I will be having about 4,000 to 5,000 people sitting down there and watching. And if you are going to be supporting my event, I'm going to be giving you branding. It's going to be available there for you. Same way with the marketing. Market your event properly. Make sure that you have photographs from the past event, videos, write-ups, which can also take it to your sponsors and tell them this is how we have been doing it in the past and over there. Media management, social media, and the current media of using press and paper and television. Social media is very important again. Make sure you connect with all the, whether it is on Facebook, on WhatsApp, or LinkedIn, or Share Chat, Instagram, whatever it is. Make sure you are present. So this is how you're going to be creating the media for your event. Operations, put together your operations team for the event and make sure that you have the briefing with them 24 hours before your event so that everybody knows what is their roles involved. And in operations, it's vital that you pay a lot of attention towards the safety and security aspects of your event. Bring in experts for your event. If you don't have in-house, always look at connecting within your network and bringing experts from neighboring schools or experts from various sports federations who can come out and help you with technical support for your event. And your infrastructure, make sure that your infrastructure for the event, if it's a sports event, a sports day, your track marking, your shamianas, your tents for seating, your first aid, refreshments, all these are taken care of. Again, we go back, there's a few things there, as I said about, the date and the time, and both the pupils and parents are aware. The planning of the games, this is also very important when you are, if you're just looking at a sports day, plan the events that you want there and make sure that the students have had adequate practice and run your heats so that you, before the actual sports event on that day, your heats are already done in advance and mostly you're running all your finals there. Equipment is very important. Make sure that you have all equipment in place at least 24 to 48 hours in advance. I would advise 48 hours. If you don't have your own equipment, try and reach out to schools in your neighborhood where you can borrow them. And same way, if you have equipment which you can also lend to other schools, try and share with other schools so that at the end of the day, we are trying to create better opportunities for our children at the grassroots level. Budgeting and financing the event, the various aspects of it. We're talking about if you have prize money, then hiring of the venue, equipment, supplies, personnel, facility setup, facility cleanup, transportation, beverages, food, media, publicity, and merchandise. So merchandise is one of the areas which we don't focus a lot on in schools today, especially in the Indian setup. But it does work, if you have an event T-shirt, you can have an event T-shirt that is sold with all your sponsors' logos on them. And if you keep it at a reasonable price, many parents would be happy to buy that as a souvenir of the event. And that can generate a bit of funding for you for your own event line. Facility cleanup. This is a very important aspect of any event that you have. First thing is you want to make sure that there is minimum cleanup happening by making sure that your venue has got enough dustbins put around, and we will also talk about reducing how we can do that later on. But make sure that people are aware that there are dustbins available so that they can always put their trash into bins so that when the cleanup starts after the event, you have a minimum work to do. Identifying potential sponsors. This starts well in advance of your event. And this is something that you should be doing on a yearly basis, and it is ongoing and it never starts or stops. You're always looking at whenever you're having interaction with parents or some vendor who walks into your school, you're looking at how you can potentially use them as a sponsor for your event. What can you give them which would be attractive to them, and what can you get back from them? And also when you find a sponsor, you can either have a contract with them or you can have a memorandum of understanding or a letter of understanding with the with the potential sponsor, saying that this is the role that you will be having and this is what I will be giving you in turn, so that there is clarity between both parties. Whenever you are having a sponsor, it is very important that you have a document that clarifies what is the role of each person and what will be involved in the sponsorship. Marketing the event, as I said earlier, social media, radio, television, press, use them before the event to highlight that this is going to be happening, and post-event to send a small write-up and a post-event article that can also come out with pictures. The pre and the post are very important aspects of marketing your event. The pre-event marketing helps to bring awareness to the event and make sure that people know that this is going to be happening on this particular day. The post-event marketing helps your sponsors and your school to be in the eyes of the community, saying that you have done this and this is what was done on a particular day. And the next time when you are doing this event, the post-event marketing write-ups, whatever you have had, is your supporting documents for seeking new sponsors. Media management is the same. Try and work and have a dedicated delegate, somebody within your school organization who's familiar with systems and social media to work with media management. And if you're getting media people in, make sure that they are welcomed well into your school and that they have access to all the information that they want. They have access to the coaches, to the school management and the players if they want to have personal interviews, and that they are taken care of and provided good hospitality when they come there. Personnel management, this is a very important part of your whole operation setup. Identify the people who are going to be helping you to run the actual show on that day, because you cannot be in 10 places at the same time. As the head of the department, as the head of physical education, or the sports director or athletic director, or whatever is your designation, you need people to be involved and who have been delegated, and that they know that this is their particular role on that day, and this is how all of them are going to be coming together and stringing the whole event together. Sometimes you may not have the resource people that you're looking for within your own setup, within your school or whatever. You might have to hire people from outside. So make sure that that is also involved in your budget. You've already budgeted for that, and compensate them equitably for the work, what they're doing when they come out there. Pre and post during the event, as I say, Murphy's Law, you can plan for everything, but also plan for something that can happen, which may not happen also, but make sure that you have a plan for it. For example, for a rainy day, what happens if you're planning a complete event outdoor and it's going to be washed out? Is it possible that you can have an indoor venue where you can move it? Maybe you may not be able to do all the events there, but if you can move it indoors, if you have a space, try and do it there. What happens if you have a fire, if you have a loss of power and things like that? So make sure that you have got a backup plan for anything that happens. And go through this backup plan with your whole operational team. Your whole operational team should be aware of this backup plan, and you take the call when it is required for what is going to be the backup for a particular situation. I was talking about the post cleanup, and this is where we are looking at how can we make your event an eco-friendly sports event. So whenever we talk about the 3 R's of reuse, reduce, and recycle. So let's make sure that whatever we are doing, using in our event, we are using bare minimum resources that can always be recycled. So whenever we have an event, make sure that, for example, like the thing that I'm going to give you an example of is now water. Water is going to be a big part of our sports event. So if we are going to be selling water bottles at the sports event, what is going to happen is, before you know it, you will look around the place, and if you go to any sports event today, you will see hundreds and hundreds of water bottles lying down everywhere. You can avoid this by straight away having water points where people can bring their own water bottles and go and fill up their water bottles. They can always go and fill up a water bottle. So when they are going to a water point and they're able to fill up their water bottles, which could either be a paid water point or it could be a free water point, then we are going to be reducing that number of bottles on the floor. Same way, when we are having food being sold, make sure that we are using recyclable trays that are used instead of plastic. Today we get fantastic small cups and trays that are made from banana, from palm leaves and things like that. So make sure that we are using eco-friendly materials that can be recycled and reused. When you have an event, it's very important to make sure you take care of your teams, the players, the coaches, the support staff, the organization, and organizers. So this is all a part of your operation setup. So if you have outstation teams coming in, the coaches, the support staff, make sure that they have good accommodation and they have access to training facilities before the competition, and their food and requirements are met on time. So again, here we're talking about the same thing. When we are hosting teams, ground facilities, quality food, safety, transportation for the team if the venue is away, and making sure that the place where they are going to be staying is safe and clean. Training facilities are very important when you're having team sports. When teams come in, you've got to have practice facilities scheduled. Make sure that when teams come in if you're having a football tournament and your teams are coming in 2 days before, and you have one practice ground, so that you give them a practice schedule. You say like, okay, team Tamil Nadu will have their practice between 9 to 10:30. From 10:30 onwards till 12 o'clock, it will be team B or team C, so that the time schedules are given and teams are respecting their time schedules, that they make sure that their practice happens during that time. And once their time is up, they vacate the facility and the next team comes in. There we are. That's a quick brief into sports and events. I hope I've been able to enlighten you all with how we can create a better sporting environment in our schools for our children, and also to create better sports opportunities for all our students. And I leave you with this image, which has been a very strong image that I was seen when I was traveling somewhere in Kerala. I saw this on a child's t-shirt. Sports is the most powerful teacher of life. And I fully believe in this saying. As a physical educator, I always found that we physical educators, coaches who are involved in sports, we can teach our students most of the lessons that they will never learn in their classrooms. These lessons are going to be taught to them on our play fields. The lessons of, first thing is about hard work. It's about pushing yourself. It's about challenging yourself to become better from what you are. It's about learning to work with others in a team. It's about learning to respect each other in a team, learning to respect people of the other gender, and above all, it is about obeying the whistle, playing to the whistle. Thank you very much. Stay inspired, all of you. Dr. Sanjeev, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Can you stop that sharing? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Wonderful presentation. Sir, one or two questions are there. So can I ask a relevant question which is related to this topic?
I hope I have an answer. Please go ahead.
Yeah, you have answered everything, but still one or two it does. Keninjin Glenn asked that is it appropriate to organize this combat games in the schools? Because some students don't have that emotional control.
No, it's let us be very clear about combat sports, whether it is boxing, whether it is taekwondo, whether it is karate, or it is any other of the sports. The first thing is, most of these sports, the fundamentals lie in discipline. That is what these sports are teaching these students who are involved in these combat sports. Nobody goes into karate and starts having a sparring match the next day itself. So there is a element of discipline that has been taught to the students while they are undergoing their training in these courses. So now, can we allow that to happen in schools? This is an individual call that schools have to take. Are you going to be promoting combat sports in your school? If yes, are you going to be making sure that the maximum, that every possible safety precaution is taken when we are having combat sports? And also, this is a question where the school community, the parents also have to accept that if your child has signed up for a combat sport, the possibilities of being injured is very high. Is very high. It is not that you cannot get injured in other sports. You can get injured in other sports also. But in combat sports, the possibilities of injury are going to be very high. So there must be this declaration signed from the parents' side saying that, yes, we do not hold the school responsible as long as the school has provided every safety precaution possible there. So if you look back at the history of many of our boarding schools, boxing was a very big part of the boarding school culture going back the old days. Today it has disappeared from many schools, and there's the good side and the bad side, but it all comes down to how it is supervised. So this is where I would leave it as, if the school has a policy that they're going to promote it, ensure that you have every safety precaution put into place before you do it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. One more question from Angelina Joy. She asked that she needs some more advice to understand this planning. So if time is available, you can continue it. Otherwise, I will give a email ID, a link of yours, so that they can ask questions.
I mean, if there is a specific question regarding planning that I would like to address.
There is no specific question, sir. So they need some advice on this particularly. So that's why, in case if your time is available, then okay. Otherwise, I will give a link of yours. So then they may ask some questions through email ID.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Somebody's asked a question regarding the color run. Can I just explain that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now the color run, when we're talking about the color run, there is, as I said, like, you are an artist and you are creating your color run. So the distance is up to you. It all comes down to you. And you can choose the colors. It's just basically the holy colors that we play with. You use those same colors, and so you could have it at a 1 kilometer point, or you could have it at a half a kilometer point. Ideally, you want to do a color run for not more about 3 or 4 kilometers, depending on the age group of the participants. If you are doing high schoolers, and if you have been having long distance running for them as a regular part of their PE programs, or if you've been encouraging runs in the school, then you can have a longer distance. And you can also involve the parent community in this. This is where you can bring the parents as a family also to get involved into this. So the color run has no fixed distance or anything. It's up to you to be creative. And I'm going to throw in one more quickly into this color, into the run part. We have time, I think, Dr. Sanjeev. We are okay with time, Dr. Sanjeev?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is that.
Yeah.
No problem, sir.
So I'm going to just throw in one more into this. There's another run that we used to have in one of our schools, which was the daily run in school. So what used to happen is, the PE department used to set up a circuit in school, one lap around the school. So the kids used to come in, especially the lower elementary and the middle schools. So the high schoolers never used to take part in this, and they will do a lap of the school. So it could be they could do it alone, or they could do it with their parents. And every lap they do, they collect a band or a token. So this course is open for about 30 minutes. So if school is starting at 8:30, the PE teacher comes in by about 7:40. She comes in about 7:45. From 7:45 to 7:15, the course is open, and the students are given tokens for every lap they complete. And when they finish, they come down and they give their tokens. So if Sebastian ran 20 laps, I got 20 tokens, and so 20 is put next to my name. So end of 8 weeks, we look at the person who has accumulated the maximum number of tokens, and then their certificates and recognition are given to them. So this is also another way of encouraging, just like the color run, to encourage running in the schools.
Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, one question is there from two participants. One is Santomi by Singh, and another one is Shanmuga Das. Both they are asking like some students are not interested in participating this activity, especially girl side also. They are asking how to motivate this girls to participate in the sports activities.
This is the challenge, and I think the challenge starts very early in school. If we do not encourage our girl child to be active in lower elementary, upper elementary, and as they transit to middle school before they hit puberty, most of the girls are pretty much active. Our problems start when the girls hit puberty, and then the social pressures start on them to be less active. This is where we have to make sure that we are teaching them and the community and the parents how important it is for our girl child to be active in school all through their life. Not just because they've attained puberty now that they should stop participating in sports. And this is where I was also emphasizing on having, if you're in a co-educational school, to promote mixed gender activities in PE classes. It is a challenge. There is a big challenge there because it is a mindset that we have developed over the years that as soon as our girl child attains puberty, that they withdraw from sports activities. So let's try and make sure that we are also focusing on our girl child even after puberty. And this is the role of the PE teachers to educate. This is very important that we educate our students and our community how important it is for the girls to be physically active. It is not about representing the school and winning laurels for the school, but it is just about being physically active for life.
So one more question from Melinda Thakur. She wanted some more brief ideas about this advertisements.
Yeah.
Then how it would be really helpful after the events she is asking.
It is very, as I said, like the pre-event and the post-event marketing. Now, remember, today everything is about selling what you are doing. Whether you are on Facebook, you are marketing yourself. When you are on a WhatsApp, when you are forwarding a message to somebody, you are again you are forwarding your ideas, your philosophy into a bigger space. Like so, the same way you also have to highlight and market what you are doing through these press releases, pre and post event, and also on social media, because it does make a very strong impact. See, if you are on Facebook and if people in your Facebook page are going to be able to see what you have done in your school, it automatically pushes you to a higher level because people know that you are a person who's actively involved there. And the same way, if you are able to get your event into the press, into the print media, or into the local television channels, that again highlights and shows that what you are doing. Because if you don't beat your own drum, no one is going to recognize you. Trust me on this. This is about 35 years of experience. You can do all that you want. It's good. But if you don't beat your drum, like I am beating my own drum on these seminars here. So people come to know me. Through this seminar, people have come to know me. So the same way you need to go out there and sell what you are doing. So market yourself, pre, post event. It is very important on whatever space that is available.
Rajiv Srivastav, sir. He asked like up to 10th, parents as well as even teachers, they will allow them to participate in sports and games. As they reach this 10th or 12th, this is totally restricted. Then they are asking your opinion on this. So how to manage the sports, physical education activities for them also.
I mean, there are two sides to this. One is I'm going to say that in the last 10 years, I have seen a tremendous change in how parents have been looking at this. There has been a change. There is no doubt about that. Today, when you look at the number of students who are opting for sports-related careers after +2, those numbers have gone up tremendously. If we look at the number of private sports management institutes that have opened up in the country in the last 5 years, I can straight away say there are more than about 30 sports management institutes who are doing programs tied up with various organizations from FIFA to NBA to this, just in sports management. So now there are alternates that are happening as a career now, where today's students who were previously parents were thinking like, if my child is involved in sports, unless he gets a job through sports, he's got a career like. It is not that anymore now. Today, the avenues have opened up for from physical education, from sports coaching, to personal training, to sports event management. There are so many areas that where people can actually make a living from being involved in sports. Definitely, many schools today are looking at it and saying like, now we have physical education as a part of the CBSE class 12, which is contributing a lot towards the students' overall total. And students who are taking it up are being introduced into actual physical education, sports event management, exercise physiology. The whole work is being introduced to them in class 12 through the CBSE physical education curriculum. Many of the states have not yet adapted it. But now in the state curriculums, once this starts coming through the new NEP policies, it is definitely going to open it up. But there is always going to be people who are talking about, oh, now it is a board exam time. The children should not be taking part in these activities. What I would say now to the person who has asked, I think it was Mrs. Thakur, somebody, is you have to be an advocate for this. You have to go out and make sure that you tell your student athletes this first. Remember, you are a student first and second an athlete. So it is your priority to make sure that you are doing well in your class. And if you want to be a part of my sports teams, you must show the same importance of being in the sports team and scoring high grades in class. If your grades are dropping, I'm going to remove you from the sports team. So when you start having this kind of message to your students, then the teachers and parents also realize now that my child is not just going for sports alone, but he also or she has an obligation to perform well in the classroom. So make sure that your student athletes are students who are responsible and who are holding themselves to account to perform well in their classroom also.
Sir Pranab Swain, he asked a question. Presently, we are facing this pandemic problems. So, whether it is possible to conduct this annual sports through virtually?
Wow. Right. Yeah, I mean, there are schools that have actually been doing kind of sports days or virtual sports days, and most of them have been focused on challenges, fitness-based challenges. So that is what you can think of how you can reorganize and do your sports day. You probably cannot have forget the regular sports day. Be creative and think of how you can bring in personal fitness challenges and then give them tasks to achieve. And that's how they're going to be sending their feedback back to you in the form of pictures, videos. And when you do the challenge-based sports activities can be done on virtual space. And some schools have done it. Please do your research and look out there. There are lots of challenges that can be set up for your students. But it cannot be on a sports day model. It will be a fitness challenge based model that can be done on virtual lines.
Yes, sir. Very nice, sir. Sir, this type of things are going in SAI also, e-Pathshala.
Yeah.
Especially in football, they are doing it. What you have said, the same thing they are doing it, sir. And finally, one thing I want to ask that what will be your suggestion for our participants on this topic?
Yeah, that's my final words to everybody who's participated here. I think there's 540 of them. Thank you very much for coming out today. This is the experience that I have.
600.
600. Okay. So this is the experience that I have gathered over since 1987 when I left LNCP Gwalior. And I hope you have been able to share my journey of physical education, sports and events, and how you can work on making things better for our students. And this is my goal to you, that we as physical educators should find ways to make sure that we are recognized for what we are doing in school. And that recognition is only going to come from how you approach the whole thing. You have to approach physical education in schools as an educator. Make sure that everybody in your school counts you as an educator and not just as a PT master or a PT miss. You are an educator who is responsible for molding the young people's minds and our hearts and making them active for life. You have a tremendous role, and these children are going to be remembering you for the rest of their lives, even though you may not have taught them maths, physics, chemistry, biology, or language. But the skills that you are teaching them are the most valuable skills that will make or break them for the rest of their lives. Today we see our students, not just our students, we see our younger generation, as soon as they go into the workforce, suffering from lifestyle related diseases. The only way we are going to reverse this, please listen to me very carefully, the only way we are going to reverse this by making sure that before our children leave school, that we impart a complete love for being physically active for the rest of their lives. And the only person that can do that is you. You, the physical education teachers in school, are the people who have to spread this message to our students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are going to conclude this one with oath of thanks. Sir, your presentation was so wonderful, a very inspiring one. Uh, I want participants. I want to tell about our Sebastian sir. He is really a passionate. He is an all-rounder physical education teacher. While reading his biodata, I was surprised that he is involved in many activities, and he is promoter of this physical education activities also. Just not only a presenter, he is a beautiful person by heart also. Sir, you have explained number of points on this session, like daily sports opportunities in school, how to organize physical education classes during a scarcity, also importance of sports and competitions, sports development pyramids, how to expand participation opportunities in sports as well as in schools. You have explained about yoga, a way of life, not a spiritual one or a religion one. Hosting an events, you have explained so many things you have explained. So I hope whatever you have said, your opinions, your suggestions were so solid and crystal clear for our participants also. And so I hope all the opinions will be carried by our participants, and that will be shared among our sports family, and they will enhance the quality of a school as well as the students also. With this, on behalf of Ministry Youth Affairs and Sports, Hello India, Sai LNCP, and on behalf of our respected principals, Dr. G. Kishore sir, I thank you for your valuable suggestions and opinion on this session, sir. Participants, please carry this valuable messages with you. Thank you for your presence, sir. And participants, I am going to share sir's email ID in case if you have any doubts on this topics, you can communicate with him through email ID. Sir, I'm going to share this one, sir. Participants, you can see this one, Coach Sebastian F at gmail.com. You can ask suggestions on this topic. He is very passionate, so you may get lot number of ideas from him. I'm going to stop this sharing. I hope you have noted this email ID. So once again, thank you for your presence, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjeev. Thank you, everybody.
Yes,
Goodbye.